Welcome to the Decoding Dreams podcast, where mystical folklore and spiritual insights come to life in the ethereal realm of dreams. Writer Memory, guiding you through the enigmatic landscapes of the subconscious mind, where hidden truths and ancient wisdom are revealed through the language of dreams. Join me on this journey of discovery as we unravel the mysteries that lie within the tangled web of our nighttime visions, delving deep into the realms of the unknown to unlock the secrets that the dream world holds. Get ready to explore the intersection of mysticism, folklore, and spiritual enlightenment in the captivating world of dreams, where reality and fantasy merge to create a tapestry of profound insights and infinite possibilities. Welcome to the realm of the unknown. Welcome to the Decoding Dreams podcast with Writer Memory.
All right, I'm so excited to be back on the air, sending love and light to you and your family. Hope that this podcast finds you all doing well. I am your host, author, and sister friend, Memory M.B. Mosley. Family, I'm so excited. I've been on a hiatus. With some hiatuses, good things come out of them. Thought-provoking things come out of them. Sis has been rebranding. It's been a lot going on, but I definitely missed being on the podcast and doing recordings. But I'm so excited because majority of what's been going on as well is the rebranding of this podcast. So some of you are seeing the thumbnail may say Memory Chronicles. We are still Decoding Dreams podcast. I'm taking intentional steps. I've been advised to rebrand. And so life is all about growth, ain't it? So I am rebranding. And one of the exciting parts about the rebranding is finally everything resides under Memory Chronicles. And because I'm a historical fiction and fantasy writer, it was only wise to do the rebranding in such a manner. So the name that was tossed in the hat that won the prize is Memory Chronicles. And one thing I'm excited about is we're still going to be in the supernatural realms. We're still going to be decoding dreams. We've been decoding dreams in the subconscious and conscious. We're still going to have those topics, but I'm more so excited about bringing guests in. Really, that's what I'm excited about. And I'm excited to be able to also get into the things that I'm passionate about furthermore, which is the folklore. And so all this is all exciting. I'm excited now at TikTok, a Memory Chronicles, Instagram, a Memory Chronicles, YouTube, a Memory Chronicles. So once we start getting guests and doing recordings, live recordings, my goal is to upload to YouTube and then to do some snippets and clips on TikTok. TikTok is really where I reside because I have a TikTok shop. And so it's all exciting news. It's all exciting news. And for those that have been recording for those of you that have been downloading and listening to the podcast and sharing the podcast, thank you so much. You all are so amazing. I'm so excited for the direction of this podcast. I'm so excited for the direction of this rebranding. I feel like I'm doing intentional moves. And my day ones, remember, manifestation requires intentionality. So step one, we're getting the intention. We're setting the intention. We're setting the tone. I'm excited. I'm excited for what Memory Chronicles is going to do. I just feel it within my soul that this is the best direction to go. We're still low-key Decoding Dreams podcast, so don't play with it. Okay? And so we're still going to talk about supernatural. We're going to dive into the subconscious, the conscious. Once again, it's really just an exciting time. And to be able to bring guests that could talk about these different realms and interdimensions and or things that are intriguing, especially for me. So I'm excited about that. And so as we go on my day ones, thank you so much for listening. Those that have just found the podcast, welcome. And today, Spirit wanted me to come on here to talk to someone. Spirit laid this on my heart, that sometimes you feel as though it's the time, but it's not the time, because the time will reveal itself. Sometimes you feel that it's the time, but it's not the time, because the time will reveal itself. Don't ask me any questions. That's Spirit for you. But in lieu of this, she gave me this experience to share with you all. My day ones know my spirit is a she. Just haven't given her name. But this was really profound. And I hope it resonates with someone, whoever is in this season. So sometimes it feels like it's the time, when it's really not the time, because the time will reveal itself. And you know what? Furthermore, sometimes it feels like it's the time, but yet there is different phases to it, right? So wherever you are, however you are, it might seem like you're not where you want to be, right? But look at it and picture it as little building blocks to where you need to get to, right? Because it's been times in my life where it's felt like I'm stagnant, but in the background, things are moving. But just physically, as a used to be busybody, which I'm learning to live within the moment, because you don't always have to be a busybody. You don't always have to have stuff going on to signify that life is going on. It's sometimes within these quiet moments, or it's sometimes within the moment itself, where things are just naturally unfolding in the background. I have learned that. And so I want to talk to someone today. That individual that thought that it is the time, but you're looking around thinking, I thought this was my time. Well, what's going on? I'm confused. And so I remember a few years ago coming back into the medical industry. I applied for a job. This job to me felt right. Everything about it. My intuition felt like it was the right fit. We had the interview with the director and the members of the department. I was excited. This in its past the honeymoon excited, you got a job, but it just felt right. It felt that I was 6 minutes away tops from my home. I like the hospital organization. There was a little symbol. I'm a symbol girl. So I'm a simple symbol girl. So there was a symbol on the organization's name that almost looked like an infinity sign. That's what it resembled to me. And what was so interesting, one of the phones that connected to one of the rooms had my old ID number from my former job. And so for me, I look at things and I'm like, everything is making sense. I'm supposed to be here. This is it. I felt like this is where I'm supposed to be. I felt really good about it. Until I started training within that department. Now, we understand that there may be not a perfect work environment out there, but definitely this was the craziest department I'd ever been in. I found myself questioning my intuition because, once again, I felt like this was the time. My intuition was like, I didn't feel different. Like, sometimes you're like, I don't know, I'm just passing through. But no, this felt like I'm supposed to be here. So I was a little bit conflicted in that, because all my life I've trusted in my intuition and my intuition / gut feeling. So did I betray myself? What's going on? And so I felt like maybe I'm not seeing a clear picture. I stayed and I stayed, so much so to the part that when I drive up to that parking lot, my stomach would knot up. I didn't want to be there. Every Friday I would cry. I would cry tears of sorrow. I didn't want to be there. And I was so conflicted because I thought I was supposed to be here. I thought this was the time. What did I not see? What is it that my intuition was saying that this is it and it's not? So perhaps I thought maybe I'm jumping into conclusions like I always try to do, convince myself sometimes. That's my toxic trait, to not seeing the red flags when they're red flagging, to kind of look at them like orange. That looks like orange. It's not red. But there I was, trying to feed myself false positivity. It's going to get better. Everything and anything I could say, because it just felt like I thought my intuition was leading me here. I thought this was my time. What did I get wrong? More so, if anything. So now I couldn't take it any longer. 4 months had come and I was like, dang it. And it's one of those things, right, where you're like, for me, I come from the old school. Like, I've been working since I was 16 years old. So I'm like, it's not going to look good on my resume if I leave 4 months, but my health, my mental, they clearly did not want me in their department. For most of the people that are not privy into the medical industry per se, there is a shift and a difference that happens. For instance, the person that was super excited for my employment there, of course, was the director, who was inundated with other responsibilities. She was in charge of the cath lab, meaning a whole bunch of staff there, and she was in charge of our department and another department. She wore several hats, right? And so she was the director who was in charge of these departments, but she did not have experience in what it is that I did and what we did in the department. And I say that to say that's where sometimes the breakdown is, right? So it's not like, oh, I'm just going to go see what the new candidate is doing. No, they rely strongly on people around the new candidate. And this was my first time to encounter such evil, where I realized that people can make you seem and feel incompetent even when you're not. But furthermore, this environment was no longer conducive for me. It was just downright, just beyond the negative, toxic. It was a group of people that I had experienced in my life, first time in my life. And you're talking about, I've been doing the work since 2004. And the first time in my life, I'm experiencing a group of people that were determined to make me seem like I was incompetent. And I take my clinician aspect of my life seriously. I think I hold on to it tightly. I take it seriously. I've always been a professional within that realm. And I love being a clinician as well as the other hats that I wear, because this has been my baby for the longest time, respectfully. And I say that to say, because I had to finance my way through this program. I had to work hard, almost didn't make it through the program. It's so many hurdles, like anything else in life. So I didn't know what this evil was at this place. But at the same time, I was so conflicted in the signals that I thought I'd had. Like, surely my intuition could not betray me like this. So here's the thing. I had to resign indefinitely. I couldn't. 4 months in, I just could not. This was on a whole nother level. And let me tell you something. I've put a post on this on TikTok and I might have spoken about it here as well, but let's take a pause and talk about this real quick. People that love us, or people that are around us, or people that think they know us, majority times we can assume that they want the best for us, but sometimes they want the best for us in the way they see it for themselves. In other words, in a projecting type of manner. For instance, I had a very close friend, because of the dollar amount I was getting paid, but really it was for my experience and years that I had put in and what I brought to the table. But I had a very close friend look at that when I said I was quitting, and I listed all these super toxic reasons why. And one of the reasons too was I knew that I was highly skilled. I knew that I came with the resume, that came with the resume, that came with the resume. So one of the other things was because I realized in what I presume she was projecting in what she would settle for. Like, girl, are you crazy? Do you see this dollar amount? What are you talking about? You better stick to it. And that's fine, because once again, I think I did a little, it must have been on TikTok or here. It's two places where I say, I more than understand. People in our lives sometimes feel like they know what's best for us, either based on where they are in life or based on what they would react and how they would react. To her, I'm making way more than she's making an hour. So what are you talking about? What are you talking about? For me, it was more so my mental state was everything. In the way I had never ever worked at a place where I pull up into the parking lot and my stomach knots. I've never worked at a place where I didn't want to be there. Like, I mean, sometimes like at work, you're like, I'm ready to go home. But I mean, I'm talking about like, it was like too traumatic. The microaggressions and the blatant just nastiness off it all. I'm a strong person, but that I could not put myself through any longer. Plus, I just knew that, okay, I have this resume. I'm not a new grad. I don't have to prove myself. I have a track record, a positive track record at that. So we actually went back and forth with this friend, and this might be a message for somebody too, whoever is listening to this. To understand that people within our circles will love us, will care for us, will mean well as far as they see that they're meaning well. And sometimes they project. And I always say, follow your intuition and your gut, right? I know we're talking about my intuition and wondering if it betrayed me or not, but follow the story and I'm going to tell you. And so with her, she put up a good fight for me not to leave. Despite all the things that I had told her day in and day out of what I was experiencing there, I had to make an executive decision for myself. And one of the people that I value and trust as well, on top of my spouse and the friend that I had to call my sister. She's been in corporate and she knows how corporate runs. And I knew that I had to leave, but sometimes it's something about needing somebody's assurance. And my sister was like, nah, resign. And so given with that, because also I was conflicted, but I knew I couldn't do it. This place was breaking me, was chipping away at my soul and was breaking me apart. And so I resigned indefinitely 2 days before my birthday. I took that as the first symbol of standing for myself, standing up for myself. Of course, the friend, one of the close friends, the one that was really adamant, was not happy about it. But at some point in time, you have to make a decision that caters to how you feel emotionally, right? Psychologically, same as mentally, and physically. So therefore, the director didn't understand, but she wouldn't, because you're not hands-on and you really are far from this department, so you don't really understand how this department runs, so. And I just had sense that this was not a place I wanted to be, just the energy wise, just low vibrational, super negative. And so I left. Now, I am a human being, and I'm not going to lie to you. I was disappointed. I was sad. And I would say I was sad at what could have been. I was sad at how hopeful I was and excited I was initially at this position. I was sad and mourning what could have been, what I thought could have been, what I thought was. So it was a moment in time. But I'm not going to lie to you again, because this would have been the first experience in my adult life where I realized that I'm holding on to all of this. I needed to let it go. Because usually I hold on. I'll be mad a little bit, like I'm just like, how dare people do this to me and all this other stuff. So this particular time I say we need to do a burn ceremony. I went there. I saw, I felt, I experienced, I was in mourning. I was sad because, you get attached to certain things, my routine and all that other stuff. And the dreams, or like, I'm a person that forecasts, okay, this is what I'm going to be doing and all this other stuff. And so that, just the loss of that, right? You should allow yourself to mourn simple things or big things. I guess that could have been a big thing too. So, but it's a habit I've always had. I have to mourn. I have to grieve, get that whole part out. But 3 weeks after, close to 4 weeks, I had a burn ceremony because I got the emotions out. I got besides the, how could those people been so evil? How could this have happened this way? What? And all of that other stuff. My very close friend that was trying to have me stay in this place, one of the people that was like, well, is you just been there for 4 months? It's going to be hard to get another job. Friend, whoever is listening, listen to this carefully. Because I just feel that somebody needs to hear this, because I thought that was my time. I thought that was my season, right? It seemed like it was. Did my intuition betray me? Have you ever experienced that, where you felt like you were so sure, off of a decision, like, oh no, this is it. I feel good about this. And then you make that decision, and then later on you're like, wait a minute. All right. So, nevertheless, I didn't pay attention to the noise. I wanted my mentals. I wanted I can't afford to lose myself again. I can't afford to lose, because when I was in corporate for the long 15 years that led me to a sabbatical, I had lost myself. I didn't know who I was. I felt like a soulless human being because of the way I had to be in corporate, especially in a lead position. So this time around, I'm getting older. I can't afford that. I just, I need to do this to get to where I'm going. My day ones know about Faroe Islands. Y'all know. My day ones know. If you're new, we also dream builders around here. On top of understanding manifestation, we have to do what we have to do to get to where we're going. So, and that means, utilizing your current skill set, whatever that looks like in your current position, to hone whatever it is you need to get to wherever you need to go to accomplish that dream. So here's what happened. So I mourn. I do a burn ceremony. I have to, because I have to. It's my way of surrendering it to the universe and just saying this period is done. I ain't gonna lie to you, because I was kind of like, dang, I thought I was my intuition. I'm side-eyeing my intuition like, girl. But check this out, right? Sometimes it feels like it's the time. Then you realize it's not the time, but then the time will reveal itself. So after that moment, I take a chill pill, right? We do the morning, 3 to 4 weeks, burn ceremony, boom, done. 2 months after that, I do my manifestation tab and I pen down the organization I want to go work for. And then I write with hospital organizations, like, for example, let's say the hospital name is called, Peter Piper Hospital. So Peter Piper Hospital is the organization name. And most times they have several hospital locations. So this time I leave this hospital organization. Let's say this hospital organization that I left is Peter Piper. And then now I'm going to a whole nother different hospital organization. Let's say that hospital organization is called, I don't know, Lucky Hospital. They have different locations. So I write down 1, 2, 3, 4 in order on my manifestation note on which one I want in numbers I want to go work for. And then I write down the dollar amount. Y'all, I teach about manifestation. Get into the podcast playlist and check on how to manifest, etc., etc. I need to do a manifestation episode on the things that I've manifested that have come to fruition and which techniques I've used. Okay, so let's go. So I casually say the next season of my life because I've let that other season go. The key is to letting it go. Now, I am not saying you got to hurry up and heal and get over it. No, because some things hurt more than some other things. And however you process it is however you process it. The way I process it and realizing that I don't want to hold on to this because I feel like I'll bring it into the next chapter of my life. I gracefully mourn it, whatever that looks like. If I'm going to cry, if I'm going to yell, if I'm going to be mad at those people for what happened and how it happened, then I do it. And then I gracefully sent a professional resignation letter, which, like, the advice I was getting from this longtime friend was just like, no. And this is two-folded. Still follow your intuition. Even sometimes when you feel like it's misled, you still follow it. Because I knew that I just wanted to keep it professional. I could have definitely, during the exit interview, disclosed, but no. I something in me just say bow out gracefully, and I did. And so once we get all that done, and I'm on the next chapter, I list the locations, a different organization. And the first location on my manifestation, I casually apply because I'm just like, you know what, I'm not pulling out of the energy of the desperate pool. I am qualified. And so I'm qualified. I could have gotten a recruiter, but I went into the portal, I put in my information, and I didn't even hit submit. No. Because I was like, I put you go through when you go to a job site into their portal, I filled out, it was an easy 1, 2, 3, 4 step. I didn't finish the 4th step, which is hitting submit. Because I thought about, let me just chill, see what I want to do a little bit more. But nah, they wouldn't let me chill. Because somehow the recruiter of that organization, even though I did not submit the application, they got it. They were texting me, hey, I can help you finish up your application. I'm like, for real? I'm like, okay, let's get it done. This is one of the locations, the number 1 location I picked on this organization, on my manifestation paper that's on my altar. So here it is, and I had a dollar amount. So we do things move fast. It's so funny because I laughed because I said, when I was coming out of school, when I came out of school, do you know how hard it was to get a job? Because I didn't have experience. I was begging people out here. Like, how am I supposed to have experience if you don't give me the platform to come and get my experience? Oh, I used to be hungry. I still am in some aspects. But I sure was dry begging out here. I was dry begging recruiters and stuff like that. But anyways, let's continue. So things moved fast. And I negotiated my hourly to exactly what it was on my paper. And I don't know who's listening to this, who's going through this, right? It might not be this exact story, but thinking that you were in your time, but then it feels like you're not, and you're kind of like, what's going on? Let me tell you something. The minute I cast that, surrendered, gave it to the universe, released those emotions, put in the application in there, I didn't complete submitting it. I put my intentions on my manifestation paper on my altar. That's where I had released it into the atmosphere first. When I scripted it, we negotiate dollar for dollar for what I wrote. So where I left to where I went, would say like a total of 3 months later, I had maxed up to $8 extra. So some things we don't understand why they work the way they work. It seems like it was our time, but it's not our time. But follow me on this journey, because I'm here to show you that regardless, it is still your time. So here it is. We negotiate, things move fast. We get in there, and I get in there, and I realize what atmosphere it is. One of the biggest things in life is to also recognize spiritually. Remember putting on your spiritual goggles for my day ones? One of the biggest things you could do for yourself is to spiritually recognize, energetically recognize where you're at, right? And how things had moved so fast. This was a place, a different organization. Here I was. But something in me say this is not full term. This is not full term. So I was here, and I understood the assignment. I got acclimated. I did the thing I had to do. And I want this message to fall to somebody that's struggling with the question of, I thought I was in my time, because all of this is part of your journey. I know some parts of it don't make sense, but they make sense at the end when it all comes together. So here's the thing, because it didn't make sense for me too. I was over here at this other organization thinking this was it, symbolic, infinity sign, my old ID number, like things were just symbolically in my mind working through. But when it didn't work through, then I'm like, intuition, what up? But then I get to this place, which is now, for some people that are listening to this, I want to say my pruning place. I'm realizing how, because hindsight is 2020, my pruning place, this place that I had first landed, I guess it had to, I don't know, I had to take a bet on myself or something, I'm still reflecting on that. But I will show you what happened with that, how I handled the first place to end up where I'm at today, because I bowed out gracefully. And this is not advice, but my story is my story. Everybody handles things differently, but I just wasn't in agreement with the way my close friend at that time wanted me to do it. So sometimes there's a time for fights, there's a time for none, there's a time to speak up, there's a time for me in my life. I go according to how I feel, even though I was still confused when I left over there about my intuition, but I just knew that I had to bow out gracefully. I had to. So I wasn't gonna list from point A to point Z what's lacking and all this other stuff. I bowed out gracefully because that's how I felt. So here we go. I get to this place, I'm there, and I realize, and I know the hospital is cool, but I knew that this wasn't forever for me. It was just annoying. So I make it to, and one of the greatest things that came up out of that, timing is everything. Sometimes, and this is the whole entire message, sometimes it feels like we feel like we're in our time, but then it doesn't feel like it's our time. But every time will reveal itself, because everything that happens within that time is coming together still for our good, right? So here's the thing. I met a phenomenal person that's a close friend of mine now within the profession at that place. And I think that relationship had to happen. I realized why I was also there. And I did meet some other cool people over there as well. But I knew that this wasn't, energetically wise, this wasn't my tribe. This wasn't it. So it's a knowing. So I stuck around for as much as I could. It had its own things going on, but did the best work I did, showed up the best to my best of my ability, because remember, my day ones, I gotta do what I have to do to get to where I gotta go. My dreams are expensive. So somebody's dreams out here are expensive. You want to open that restaurant, you want to fund your restaurant, you want to fund your development, your whatever it is you're trying to fund and break into, your dreams, your desires. We have to do what we have to do till we get to where we're going. So I knew, like, probably after a year, I was going to be considering other. And as you may know it, I met another phenomenal person. So hospital systems routinely happens, different departments, different things. But within the departments that I've worked in is we'll get what is known as PRN people. So that's as needed people that come in to help. And they may be from other hospital organizations and maybe worked for that hospital organization, but they're just on the roster to be able to help out whenever they're free or when needed. So I meet another phenomenal person. We mesh well, we work well together. They recommend that there's a PRN position. Where's that dun 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 button? At the organization that at this time I had left over a year and a half ago. So I think to myself, well, but it's a different location. So I think to myself, okay, well, I'll go see, because I knew I wasn't going to be here permanent. But I said, let me go see what they have going on at that separate location, and if I like it over there, that's where I'll make my smooth transition, because I knew where I was not it. So I get on the phone with the recruiters for that place. I'm a past employee, remember, 4 months, resigned. And so the recruiters were really cool. Like, it's always about energy with me. The recruiter was amazing. We negotiate an astronomical amount. It's like at every level, unbeknownst to me, even though I'm not understanding it in the moment, things are just excelling. So we negotiate this astronomical fee amount. And then even at that time, I was a little bit conflicted, because it was a certain organization I was looking at downtown, but this one got me in PRN. So we start doing PRN. It's a way for me to scope out if it would be a perfect fit for me, because I already knew where I'd been over a year and a half that I wasn't going to be there permanently. And so I get to this place. I'm like, okay, it'll do. And I love the location. It's the organization I worked for initially at the start, right? The 4 months, but different location. And so I take the PRN position. I worked there a couple times, and I'm thinking, well, I might as well transition to full time. So, because, I scoped it out. It seems cool. Like, it seems like the atmosphere, the culture, and the location and all that other stuff that would be conducive for me as I go about creating what I need to create in my personal life, my podcast, my writing, etc., etc. And so I do make that transition. I put in my 2-week notice over there at the job I'd been at for a year and a half, and I leave. One of the best things there, once again, is the relationships of the people that I met, the few positive people that I met there that have become now, lifelong friends. And so I get there full time, and at every turn, is just an increase. And so I don't know who needs to hear this, because we're talking about when it feels like it's not your time and you're thinking it is your time, but the time will soon reveal itself. I came full circle. It was a whole full circle. I started off within this hospital organization where I thought this was the place for me. It didn't work out. And I don't know I'm trying to slow down, because when I get excited, I talk too fast. I don't know who has to hear this message. But listen to this full circle. Not only did I leave there, there was emotions, right? I was hurt, disappointed, etc., etc. We talked about that. I surrendered. I moved to the next chapter of my life, where I learned, and also, by the way, I learned other skills. And so I'm coming multifaceted, because in this industry, it's always learning moments. So now I'm multifaceted. And not only that, when I was at this place for a year and a half, within the first 7 months or so, as if the universe is like, girl, chill out, we got your back. I get recognized. I get an employee recognized top performer. I get recognized. I mean, like, talk about signs, right? And I tell you what, it's always amazing when you get recognized for stuff that you already do, right? You're not out here trying to overdo or overkill. I was even surprised with it all, and being given the recognition, etc., in the department. No one else had that, so that was like, and then I was sad, because I knew I wasn't trying to be there forever. But so boom, pay close attention to the signs. Sometimes our journey never makes sense until we kind of get to a certain place, right? And so that's done. But now I'm over here where I've gone full time. Not only am I there full time, not only is it a conducive place for me to continue writing, for me to create my podcast, etc., work-life balance. The culture is amazing. It's just crazy how it all aligned. I need somebody to understand something. Sometimes it seems, even with a surety, where you think like in your gut, like I did, like, wait, I was supposed to be here. Never go for the law of forcing. Nothing productive, healthy, thrives off the law of force. Anytime we force anything, there's a frictional energy that happens there. And we all know what friction does if the particles are not so chaotic and scattered everywhere. And I learned that not to force things into action because of some decisions in my past life. With things, every time I forced things out of their natural, it always came to bite me back in the butt. It never really went anywhere. And what I'm saying is, if I had forced this position, first position, where this, remember, family members, friends, siblings, whatever, family members, friends, people that love us, that are close to us. So be careful or be mindful. They love us, but are they projecting their outcomes on us? And what do you say? Because I look at my life. If I had stayed over there, I would have gypped myself off of a more than $15+ raise within that short type of period. And it's not just always about the money, but also just about peace and sanity. I would have gypped myself out of peace and sanity. I would have been miserable. I would have never found or understood that I could make all this other amounts that I've made throughout this journey, that this journey has showed me, like, hey girl, your skill set is getting you this. And then I possibly wouldn't have also leveled up my resume to get some more skill sets out of the place like I got on my second chapter of my life. And at the same time, I would have missed out on an employee recognition, all these signs. So sometimes it feels like it's not, you feel like it's the time and you think it's the time, and then it feels in hindsight that it's not the time. Do not be disappointed. Do not be sad, because your journey is literally just starting and going. Pivot to what your intuition and your gut is telling you. Because again, had I reacted during my resignation, had I reacted out of an emotional place, out of all this other stuff, where this close friend was telling me to send this and send that and do this and say this, had I reacted the way she wanted me to react, I would not be at this current location. Because understand that this current location I'm at is the same organization from where it started off bad. So just because things start off bad and you're so sure, like I was, that this is where I'm supposed to be, and then it doesn't make sense, then give it time. Let it maturate. Follow the footsteps of the journey, because sometimes life is going to take you in certain routes to get you where you need to be. What is so funny and crazy about it, because I never throw away the uniforms, I have them. What's crazy is, and it's something, I was looking at them, I was like, I'm about to throw them away, but I was like, no, I like how the scrub pants fit, and I liked everything about them. I wasn't going to wear them anywhere, but I just, especially the pants, the tops were in the closet. But my life reached full cycle, ran right around. I had to go through these other stops to gather the extra skill set, to gather the extra coin, and to get to a place of stability where it's stable enough, but this is not my permanent, but this is where I can create out of the realm of the other things that I love doing as a clinician in a hospital. So I don't know who needs to hear this. It might not be job related, but it might seem like you feel like this was your time. It didn't make sense. Your intuition told you it was the time. And to you, I want to say, just watch how beautifully this journey will unravel itself. And I want you to bet on yourself and keep going. People around us will love us enough to give us advice. And sometimes it's the advice that's projecting from their own standpoint of view. So I'm just asking that you also dissect the informer on where the information is coming from, the source. Trust but verify the information. Because listen, it's not to say that they're gonna misguide us on purpose. It's just that you know yourself better. And I'm so grateful that I did know myself better, even in the moment that I thought my intuition had betrayed me. But nah, Spirit was like, girl, you settling for less. You way worth more than what you're settling for. And I would have never, like most people, never found out had I not circled the block. Here it is, where I thought I was sure, but I was sure within the organization, because that's where I'm at. Everything is thriving, and I'm very happy. And it's the culture that I wanted. It's the space that I wanted. It's the location that I wanted. Granted, it's not this organization that's 6 minutes away from me, but that's not where I was intended to be. I was exposed to what it was. And then what's crazy about the skill sets and everything is, then I go over here for a year and a half, do what I do over there, excel some more, get a recognition. But by the time I circle back to the same organization that I started with at a different location, I know how to use those machines. I'm privy to how they operate. So it's like, what training? What are we doing? Like, just come in, fit in like a glove. So sometimes we don't understand. I didn't understand it either, because I thought my intuition had betrayed me. But my intuition was like, girl, when have I ever betrayed you? And I'm like, you're right. You've never betrayed me. So take this moment from me. It might not make sense right now. Sometimes it feels like it's the time, and yet it's not the time, because the time itself will reveal itself. Every single step and moment you're going through is leading you to where you need to go to. And understand that everything is working out for your good. At that moment, I was a little bit, listen, I'm human. I might come with some positive sauce here and there, but I'm still human, where I was like, okay, now I don't understand what's going on. I don't have time for this. I don't have time to be job hopping when I could be writing books. I don't have time to be job hopping when I could be growing my podcast. What are we doing? Like, I got stuff to do, but I'm realizing something, that even the moments and times that everything took to come full circle like it did, I learned more. In that you should not be so concerned about timing, because I truly believe things happen when they're supposed to, because that was my concern, because the human in me, out of the spiritual energetical me, was like, oh, I was getting annoyed. I was like, okay, this job hopping is driving me crazy, because all I'm thinking about is just growing my platforms and doing what I need to do as well on the side, and I don't have time for all of this. But at the same time, it's like, what if your time is when your time is? Right? Which it is. What if my time is when my time is? Like, okay, we're here now, and then when we get to where we get to, it's your time. Thank you so much for tuning in on today's episode of Decoding Dreams. If you are interested in getting in touch with us and or interested in any of the books that I sell, you can always click on our link tree, which is part of the description of this podcast. Whatever platform you're listening in on, you can scroll on the description of this podcast, and at the very bottom should be a link tree that connects you to all my links. Thank you all so much, and you are loved.